Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina seeks vote for boat at the Rangpur Grand Rally and urges to give Awami League another chance to serve the nation.
নৌকা মার্কা ক্ষমতা আছে বলেই আজকে বাংলাদেশ এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে, এগিয়ে যাবে। কাজে নৌকায় ভোট দিয়ে আওয়ামী লীগকে আবারও আপনারা আপনাদের সেবা করার সুযোগ দেবেন, সেটাই আমি আপনাদের কাছে চাই।
BNP engages in looting the country when in power and resorts to arson terrorism when out of power, says Prime Minister. BNP has no leader as Khaleda Zia and Tariq Rahman lost eligibility to contest election as court found them guilty of corruption, Obaidul Qadir tells Rangpur Rally. BNP's acting chairman Tariq Rahman gets 9 years imprisonment and his wife Zubaida Rahman 3 years in corruption case. Former US President Donald Trump indicted in 4 cases, including efforts to defraud the United States and conspiracy to obstruct official proceedings. Assalamu alaikum. This is Shamim Khan welcoming you all to News at 10. Those were the headlines. We now move on to the news in details.
যারা মরে গেছে তারা পথ দেখিয়ে গেছেন, যারা শহীদ হবেন তারা পথ দেখিয়ে যাবেন। ভবিষ্যৎ বংশধর তারা বুক উঁচু করে দাঁড়িয়ে দুনিয়ার সঙ্গে বলতে পারবে, আমি বাঙালি, আমি মানুষ, আমার স্বাধিকার আছে, আমার অধিকার আছে।
Prime Minister and Awami League President Sheikh Hasina has sought vote for her party's electoral symbol, boat, in the next general election and give them another chance to serve the nation. She was addressing the Awami League's divisional grand rally at Rangpur Zilla School in Rangpur that turned into human sea as the venue and its surrounding areas were full to the brim with participation of tens of thousands of people. The mammoth rally was organized by Rangpur District and City Awami League. Sheikh Hasina said, people have got the country's independence by casting vote for the boat. The country's development happens only when Awami League remains in power. The Prime Minister said her government has transformed Bangladesh into a digital and developing country and has been working to make it a smart and developed country by 2041. Awami League has proved time and again that the fortune of the countrymen changed when they voted the party to power, she said. On the contrary, she said, BNP makes their fortune by committing unbridled corruption when it assumes power and carries out arson, terrorism and destruction while in opposition.
আওয়ামী লীগ সরকারে যখন এসেছে এই রংপুরে কখনো মন্দা হয় নাই, রংপুরে কখনো খাদ্যের অভাব দেখা দেয়নি, দুর্ভিক্ষ দেখা দেয়নি। আওয়ামী লীগ সরকারে আসলে নৌকা মার্কা ভোট পেলে দেশের মানুষের ভাগ্য পরিবর্তন হয়, সেটা আমরা প্রমাণ করেছি। আমি এটুকু বলতে পারি যে এই অঞ্চলে আর কখনো কোনোদিন জীবনেও কোনো দুর্ভিক্ষ দেখা দেবে না, মন্দা দেখা দেবে না। আমরা সেইভাবেই আপনাদের এই রংপুর বিভাগ উন্নয়ন করে দিচ্ছি। আওয়ামী লীগ মানুষের কল্যাণে কাজ করে, আর বাকি যারা ছিল অনেকেই তো ক্ষমতায় ছিল, এই রংপুরের ভাগ্য পরিবর্তনে কেউ কাজ করে নাই। ওই খালি নৌকা মার্কা ক্ষমতায় আসলেই কাজ হয়, নৌকা মার্কা ছাড়া হয় না। এই রংপুরের বিভিন্ন এলাকায় আপনারা জানেন এই বিএনপি অগ্নি সন্ত্রাস করে রাস্তায় চলন্ত বাসে আগুন দিয়েছে, কত মানুষ পুড়িয়ে মেরেছে। এরা কি মানুষের জাত? এরা মানুষের জাত না। ক্ষমতায় থাকতে লুট করে খেয়েছে আর ক্ষমতার বাইরে থেকে ধ্বংসযজ্ঞ চালায়। ওই জ্বালাও পোড়াও ধ্বংসই করতে পারে ওই খালেদা জিয়া আর তার ওই কুপুত্র তারেক জিয়া আর তাদের দলের লোকেরা। এরা মানুষের কল্যাণ করতে জানে না, দেশের টাকা লুটপাট করে বিদেশে নিয়ে পাচার করে এখন সেই টাকা ব্যবহার করে যাচ্ছে। কোত্থেকে আসে এত বিলাসিতা, সেটাই আমার প্রশ্ন। তারা দেশ ধ্বংস করে আর আমরা সৃষ্টি করি। নৌকা মার্কা ক্ষমতা আছে বলেই আজকে বাংলাদেশ এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে, এগিয়ে যাবে। কাজে নৌকায় ভোট দিয়ে আওয়ামী লীগকে আবারও আপনারা আপনাদের সেবা করার সুযোগ দেবেন, সেটাই আমি আপনাদের কাছে চাই। আমি এটুকু বলতে পারি, বাবা মা ভাই সব হারিয়েছি, বাংলাদেশের মানুষ, বাংলাদেশের জনগণ, এটাই তো আমার সংসার, এটাই আমার আপনজন। আপনাদের মাঝে খুঁজে পাই আমার বাবার স্নেহ, ভাইয়ের স্নেহ, বোনের স্নেহ, আপনাদের মাঝ থেকেই আমি পেয়েছি। কাজে আপনাদের জন্য বাবার মতো যদি প্রয়োজন হয়, এই বাংলাদেশের মানুষের ভাগ্য পরিবর্তনের জন্য বাবার মতো জীবন দিতে আমি প্রস্তুত, সেই কথাটাও আপনাদের জানিয়ে দিয়ে যেতে চাই।
At the rally, the Prime Minister also inaugurated 27 newly constructed development projects and laid foundation stones of 5 other schemes involving over 2,000 crore taka. Meanwhile, Awami League General Secretary Obadul Qadir in his speech at Rangpur public meeting said BNP has no leader as Khaleda Zia and Tariq Rahman have lost their eligibility to vote after being sentenced by the court.
তাদের প্রধান নেতা কে আছে? নেতা তারেক রহমান। সে কি ইলেকশন করতে পারবে? 20 বছরের সাজা, অর্থ পাচারের অপরাধে মুচলেকা দিয়ে বাংলাদেশ থেকে লন্ডনে চলে গেছে, সেই হলো তারেক রহমান। আরেক নেতাকে খালেদা জিয়া। নির্বাচন করার যোগ্যতা কি আছে? এতিমের টাকা আত্মসাৎ করে আজকে কনভিকশন নিয়ে তিনিও আজকে নির্বাচনের যোগ্যতা হারিয়ে ফেলেছেন। যুবরাজও শেষ, দেশনেত্রীও শেষ। কে বিএনপির নেতা? কার নেতৃত্বে? আমরা তো ঘোষণা করে দিয়েছি আমাদের নির্বাচনের নেতা শেখ হাসিনা, আমাদের আন্দোলনের নেতাও শেখ হাসিনা। তিস্তা পাবেন, গঙ্গার পানি যার নেতৃত্বে আমরা পেয়েছি, তার নেতৃত্বে তিস্তা নদীর পানিরও ভাগ আমরা ইনশাআল্লাহ পাবো।
Awami League Joint General Secretary and Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood was present at the meeting. Rangpur Metropolitan City Awami League convener Dr. Muhammad Dilwar Hussain chaired the public meeting, which was also addressed by Commerce Minister Tipu Munshi, Awami League Treasurer H.N. Ashikur Rahman, Organizing Secretaries S.M. Kamal Hussain, Abu Said Al-Mahmood Shapun and Shujit Roy Nondi, Publicity and Publication Affairs Secretary Abdul Subhan Golab, Office Secretary Barrister Biplab Borua, Relief and Social Welfare Secretary Aminul Islam Amin, State Minister for Shipping Khalid Mahmood Chaudhry, State Minister of Primary and Mass Education Zakir Hussain, Deputy Minister of Water Resources AKM Enamul Haq Shamim, Whips Iqbalur Rahim and Mahbub Ara Gini, former Cultural Affairs Minister Asaduzzama Noor, Jubo League Chairman Sheikh Fazle Shams Barush, Krishok League General Secretary Umme Kulsum Sriti and other central and local Awami League leaders. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's ICT Affairs Advisor, Shoji Wajid Joy, has said BNP leaders and activists resorted to terrorist activities again as they did in 2013, 2014 and 2015 at the directives of fugitive convict Tariq Rahman. Arson attacks on public vehicles and cops by the armed BNP men evoke similarities of BNP Jamaat orchestrated street violence back in the run-up to 2014 national polls, he wrote in a Facebook post from his verified account on Sunday. Shawji Majid Joy said that BNP sit-in program at the key entry points of Dhaka city was marred by clashes and violence on Saturday, leaving an unspecified number of police and general people injured. In the post, both in Bangla and English, with a Bengali title, Previous and Current Eras of BNP's Arson Terrorism, he also uploaded a video clip of violent acts carried out by BNP men in 2013, 14 and 2023. A Dhaka court today sentenced Tariq Rahman to 9 years imprisonment and his wife Dr. Zubaida Rahman to 3 years in a graft case filed by the Anti-Corruption Commission ACC in 2007. Dhaka Metropolitan Senior Special Judge Muhammad Asaduzzaman pronounced the judgment. Advocate Musharraf Hussain Kajal took part in arguments on behalf of ACC during the hearing. However, no counsel stood for the accused as they are now absconding. Examining 43 out of 56 witnesses, the court completed recording testimonies on July the 24th. The High Court rejected the couple's writ petitions challenging the corruption case against them for acquiring wealth beyond their known sources of income and concealing information in their affidavits. As both of them remain fugitives, the court rejected the writ petition, saying these are not acceptable. Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary has said, meaningful participation of women in the parliamentary election is a prerequisite for establishing inclusive democracy. The Speaker said this while addressing a meeting titled Advancing Women's Leadership in Elections, jointly organized by Democracy International and USAID in Dhaka today. Senior Director of Democracy International, Abdul Alim, spoke on the draft bill titled Election Campaign Expenditure Women Candidates Act 2023 at the meeting, moderated by Director of Democracy International, Lipika Biswas. Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary said the work of a female representative will be recognized if she works in the service of the people. She urged all concerned, including the media, to play a positive role in advancing women. The meeting was addressed, among others, by lawmakers Fatima Najma Begum, Habiba Rahman Khan, Munira Sultana, Roshan Ara Mannan, Qazi Kani Sultana, Adiba Anjum Mita, Aroma Datta, Shamima Akhtar Khanam, Sharifa Qadir and Afroza Haq. Acting Deputy Mission Director of USAID Bangladesh, Sungai Reynolds Cooper, and Chief of Party Democracy International, Dina L. Cooper Alls, also spoke at the meeting. The dengue situation in the country is worsening day by day. A press release of the Director General of Health Services said 12 more dengue patients died in the last 24 hours. Of them, all were in Dhaka. 2,711 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 1,130 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 1,581 patients outside Dhaka. Meanwhile, no patient died of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The country reported 32 COVID-19 positive cases as 945 tested in the last 24 hours. Corona infection rate was reported at 3.39%. Now, international news. Former United States President Donald Trump has been criminally indicted for trying to overturn the results of 2020 presidential election, with prosecutors accusing the Republican politician of attempting to obstruct a bedrock function of democracy in order to cling on to power. The 45-page indictment filed in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday by Special Counsel Jack Smith detailed 4 felony charges against Trump, some of which carry penalties of up to 20 years in prison. They include 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the U.S., 1 count of conspiracy against rights, 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, and 1 count of obstructing an official proceeding. The charges, Trump's third criminal indictment since March, stem from Smith's sprawling investigation into allegations that the former president sought to reverse his loss to Democrat Joe Biden. A Russian drone strike overnight deliberately targeted infrastructure on the Danube River, Ukrainian forces said Wednesday. Small ports on the Danube River have become vital for Ukrainian grain exports. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the strike on the Odessa port infrastructure an attack on global food security. Meanwhile, Russia said Ukraine launched 3 drones towards Moscow on Tuesday. A Ukrainian presidential advisor said the strikes are a sign the Russian capital is becoming used to a full-fledged war. Reports say Ukrainian forces have been able to drive Russian troops from their positions in the eastern part of the country, while elsewhere Moscow's armies remain mostly on the defensive, Kiev officials have said. Also in the east, Ukrainian troops continue their offensive around the embattled city of Bakhmut. The United States has formally invited China's new foreign minister Wang Yi to Washington as officials from the two countries continue to meet regularly amid intensifying competition. The U.S. State Department confirmed the invite on Tuesday, saying Washington expects Wang to accept it, but it did not specify a date for the visit. The offer was previously extended to Wang's predecessor, King Gang, who was removed after just 7 months in the position. Analysts told last week that the unexpected switch in foreign ministers is unlikely to have significant effects on Chinese policy or ties between Washington and Beijing. A typhoon has lashed southern Japan, forcing evacuations and cutting off power to 1/3 of homes on the Okinawa Islands. Slow-moving Kanun, the third typhoon to hit East Asia in as many weeks, threatens to worsen the heaviest rains in Beijing in more than a century. The deluge has killed at least 34 people in China so far. Kanun follows 2 other typhoons, Talim and Doksuri, a superstorm which also drenched the Philippines and Taiwan, killing more than 30 people in the last few weeks. It was expected to make landfall on China's northeast coast on Wednesday, but forecasts now say it is more likely to turn towards the Japanese mainland without hitting China. Japan's tropical Okinawa Islands expected to face the brunt of Kanun's 252 km/h gusts on Wednesday. Such strong storms are rare at this time of the year in Japan. Experts say that extreme weather events like this will become more frequent because of global warming. NASA has picked up a heartbeat signal from its Voyager 2 probe after it lost contact with it billions of miles away from Earth, the space agency said. Last month, the spacecraft, exploring the universe since 1977, titled its antenna to point 2 degrees away from Earth after a wrong command was sent. As a result, the probe stopped receiving commands or sending data. But on Tuesday, NASA said a signal from Voyager 2 was picked up during a regular scan of the sky. NASA said the news confirms Voyager 2 is still broadcasting and is in good health. Now some international news in brief. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has launched military exercises to show its readiness to defend 3 disputed islands that the United Arab Emirates UAE claims as its own.
It can undertake all kinds of operations in open seas and is capable. A watercraft also has a much commander of the IRGC Major General.
The head of the powerful armed group Hezbollah has called for a halt to days of deadly clashes that rage between rival factions in the Palestinian refugee camp in southern Lebanon, killing 11 people so far.
We urge the Palestinian
impoverished camp in southern Lebanon regularly seen deadly fighting between rival groups.
The first military planes carrying mostly European nationals evacuated from Niger landed in Paris and Rome on Wednesday, with France and other countries expected to fly more of the citizens out of the West African country after last week's coup.
reversed by this weekend's near Burkina Faso's pro-Russia.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called upon Tunisia to stop expelling migrants into desert border areas and demanded those already stranded in the harsh environment be relocated, a spokesperson said.
In this 10-meter buffer zone between Tunisia and Libya, hundreds of migrants who were expelled from Sfax.
The OOLM, also known as the human fish, is an endangered species that has developed unique characteristics in response to its extreme living conditions. It can fast for 10 years and live for 100 years completely in the dark. Its ability to regenerate organs is a focus of the research conducted by a group of scientists who want to decode its genome and find the secret to a longer life. Now, news on sports. Sweden beat Argentina by 2-0 goals in the FIFA win by 6-3 in another match held at the Allianz Stadium in Australia. Kadidiatou Diani scored a hat-trick for France. Mélie Lacar, Léa Le-Garrec and Vicky Bacho scored 1 goal each for France. Marta Cox, Yomira Pinzon and Lynette Sedeno scored 1 goal each for Panama. On the other hand, Jamaica made poll-less draw with Brazil in Melbourne, Australia. And now to end the bulletin, a recap of the top stories. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina seeks vote for boat at Rangpur Grand Rally and urges to give Awami League another chance to serve the nation. BNP engages in looting the country when resorts to arson terrorism when out of power, says Prime Minister. BNP has no leaders. Khaleda Zia and Tariq Rahman lost eligibility to contest election as the court found them guilty of corruption, Obadul Qadir tells Rangpur Rally. BNP's acting chairman Tariq Rahman gets 9 years imprisonment and his wife Zubada Rahman 3 years in corruption case. Former U.S. President Donald Trump indicted in 4 cases including efforts to defraud the United States and conspiracy to obstruct official proceedings. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you indeed for joining us, and we invite you to watch 11:30 Bangla News. Please keep your homestead clean and stay safe from dengue. Until then, Khuda Hafiz.